In this video, we're going to be looking at rounding decimal numbers to decimal places and also to significant figures. Let's take an example. Let's say we're looking at the number 0.3254. If I'm looking to round to the nearest tenth, I'm going to look at the tenths column and I'm going to draw a dotted line after it. You don't have to draw the dotted line if you can just do it in your head. Look to the right. Is the number less than or more than 5? If it's more than or equal to 5, it rounds up. If it's less than 5, it rounds down. So in this case, it rounds down, so the answer would just be 0.3, and you can put zeros on the end as well if you want to, but actually the answer is just 0.3. If we were going to round this to the nearest thousandth, I'll put the dotted line after the thousandths, and I'll look at the 4. Does the 4 round up or down? 4 rounds down, so we'd have 0.325, and that's to the nearest thousandth. Let's take a different example. Let's say that we were looking at 32.7492, and we're going to round this to the nearest hundredth. The nearest hundredth is here. Does the 9 round up or down? The 9 rounds up. So because the 9 rounds up, we get 32.75. If we were going to round to the nearest whole number, the nearest whole number, we'll put the dotted line here, and we'll look to the right. Does the 7 round up or down? It rounds up. Therefore, 32.7 becomes 33. You can put the zeros in if you want, but you don't need to. The answer is just 33 to the nearest whole number. Let's have one more example. Let's say we have 25.999, and we're going to round this to the nearest hundredth. We look to the right of the dotted line, and the 9 goes up to a 10. So therefore, it rounds up. So each of the 9s are going to round up. It's kind of like a domino effect, because when one rounds up, the next round up, and the next rounds up. So actually, to the nearest hundredth, it is 26. And that's the same as the nearest integer, the nearest 10, the nearest hundredth as well. All of them give you 26. So that's how you round to decimal places. Now let's look at rounding to significant figures. A significant figure is any figure that you start counting once you reach the first non-zero digit. So if we take the number 32500, it's 32,500, there are 5 significant figures. It's the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Don't forget, we start counting from the left, so we start from the 3 going in. There are 5 significant figures here. So if I wanted to round to 2 significant figures, for example, I take the second significant figure and put a dotted line down there. 5 rounds up, so it becomes 33,000. Let's take a different example. Let's take 200,348. 200,348. Now, a common mistake people think is, oh, there's 4 significant figures, but there's not. Remember I said you start counting as soon as you reach the first non-zero digit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we were going to round this to 3 significant figures, you put the dotted line after the third significant figure. Look to the right, does the 3 round up or down? It rounds up. Therefore, it's 200,000. Another common mistake people make is when they're looking at decimals. 0.000583. There are 4 significant figures here. We start counting as soon as we reach the first non-zero digit. So that's 1. That 0 does count because it's after the first non-zero digit. So that's 2, 3, 4. This has 4 significant figures in total. Let's say I wanted to round to 2 significant figures. What that would mean is I put the dotted line after I reach the second significant figure, and I look at the 8. Does that round up or down? 8 rounds up. Therefore, we keep all the other numbers in, and the 0 rounds up to a 1. And that's how you round to decimal places and significant figures.